Hello everyone and welcome back to another beer event to all my friends. I'm Paul, always here we are at Ambush Brewing in Mitchell in Canberra to do a collaboration brew. We're making a happy hour beer. It's going to be a pale ale. We're using Voyager malts and we're using Centennial hops and we're using Victoria hops. So all from Ryefield, the hops, and the Voyager malts are local as well as local as you can get for a pale ale. So come with us and we'll make a beer.
What do you got there, Paul?
This is their brand spanking new Red IPA. Axel just told me the name of it, but I've forgotten. Axel, what was the name of this beer again?
That is the Red IPA. We're calling it Full Bush.
Full Bush.
We've got a fantastic decal for it as well. Which we're pretty happy.
What's the ABV?
We're still waiting on the final test. It should be about 5.8.
I was going to say, yeah, it's got that 6. It's got a really nice bite. Using an RHO 01, which is meant to be giving out pear notes. I'm getting that. We've heard licorice thrown around. There's some tobacco notes. I like the bitterness of it. That's really nice. It's got a red IPA should be bitter. Not quite onto that West Coast style of like bang puckering resin name, but it's definitely smashable.
Do you adjust your free roller?
I'm going to do that now because we haven't used compass through this mill before.
Just going to put a bit through to see exactly what it's like.
We want to make sure.
So you got like 3 rollers. You've got like 1, 2, 3. Grain goes down. Does that make sense? 1, 2, 3, and you can adjust the space between them to get a finer grain or a finer crush or a coarser crush.
Yes.
So depending on what beer style you're making, that comes into play quite a lot, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It certainly does. And in our system, we've noticed we've used a lot of Atlas before, also by Voyager. Great grain. I think Voyager's grains are great. They're fantastic.
All around.
We want to keep it as local as
Big ups to
possible.
Voyager.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic grains. You do find that some of their grains do crush very differently.
Yes.
Atlas is often quite powdery, whereas if you're using the Vienna,
Well, you just mentioned Veloria.
Valoria's fantastic.
Because I put that through a. Sometimes a 2 roll is fine for that, and then other times like
Nice.
yeah, you might. Yeah. Or you just use a 3 roller.
Open that up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a little small. Oh, a little.
Yeah, you can get some photos of that as well. So that's the first test crush. You can see there's quite a bit of flour in there after that, so we're going to open the mill up, give it a little bit more space. Really what you're trying to do is you're just trying to open the grain up. You're not trying to powder it. You're not trying to flour it like that is quite floury.
Because what that flour will do is coagulate and form at the bottom, and you'll get stuck sparges. You'll get it just creates a lot of problems.
Does.
Even with a whirlpool and a false bottom and all your gadgets and stuff, having too much flour at the bottom can lead to a lot of problems.
Yeah, man. He's a trooper. Never have to buy flour again.
Have you actually used it for cooking?
No. We should.
Why not?
I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I actually come from a long line of commercial bakers up from Maryborough, funnily enough. Not that I've ever done much, but my dad's a great baker. And so these high protein malts are really fantastic at making bread. Just this.
As a brewer myself, I've used Voyager since they started.
Yeah.
I was a bit hesitant at first, like, how's this? When you try the malts, I think it was Veloria I tried first, and it's just one of my staple.
Yeah. I'm addicted to the Super Munich.
The Munich.
Oh, the SM40.
Yeah, SM40 is fantastic, which is one of the main malts that we used in that red IPA that we just tried. So if anything, that's more powdery with that adjustment. So I'm going to go the other way just to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So we're getting that crack is much better. It could even be a little bit less than that. Still having some flour, so I'll just adjust it again. So it is still quite floury, which is interesting because I've definitely gone the other way now. Not nearly as floury now. There's still some remaining flour, but you can see I busted those grains up really well. They're still more or less whole.
Yep.
And we've got quite a lot of husk in there as well. And the husk really is good for when you're mashing as well, to create a nice grain bed where you get good flow through, which is really what drives your efficiency more than anything. Cool. Well, we'll get going on this.
All right.
It's just gravity fed really. And, you know, the whole setup's more or less as basic as you can get. It's bare bones as you can get. You know, a lot of this we put together ourselves. So it just goes to show you can make good and interesting beers on a very tight budget. I think. Yeah. Not much talking, you can do well.
It's interesting. No, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, mate.
What are we doing here, Boston?
We are spiking the punch. So this is the start of the yeast starter. It's very important to keep everything sanitized in this step, which is why I'm wearing gloves and why we've got the sanitizer on hand. Axel just finished cleaning this.
I noticed that you're starting from a bag as well, like you haven't reused your yeast from a previous batch or something like that.
Axel, where's the lid, man? Right on. Yeah, with this particular system, we're not doing the volume that we need to be able to harness the yeast back yet, which is a little bit upsetting. We wanted to do cone to cones immediately.
Yep.
Yeah. But it just hasn't been possible with the kind of volumes that we're using, unfortunately. But with these tanks as well, since we don't have a gradient on the conical bottom, which means that it's more difficult. Well, it's got a little.
You get a bigger area to collect your yeast from. Yeah.
So with this, you'll find that the first one that we pull out will be out of the bottom, will be quite yeast rich, and then as we go on,
It's always good work.
yeah, as we go on, that cone will kind of collapse.
Yep.
So we find that the first keg that'll come out and the last keg that'll come out will be our trub kegs, rather than just the first, which is really weird. So it's all getting to know your equipment and just making it more like polishing it as it goes on.
So you'll see us pumping out of the top here. You can see. Watch out for the marking.
I can't lift too much, but I can stir. Don't get hernias.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Probably Scott's at the
Can I jump in there with you, Axel, to stir?
jump up. Yeah. I mean, the good thing about earlier than that, this is attenuation.
It's not dissimilar to a bakery. Say that every time. I mean, it makes sense.
So that's why we.
How's it going up there, Paul?
It was good. It was a bit of a workout on the arm. I think I did about 1.5 kg on the rowing machine just then. I can't lift anything, but I can definitely do that. And you just want to keep it moving around. You want to create kind of a whirlpool. In the process of it spinning around, it'll break up the dough balls, the clumps of the grain sticking together.
I think as well, if your milling's correct and you've got your grain of the right size, that'll minimise that lumping as well.
Very much so. I think we were talking about this yesterday, how important the the grain being split is. Because it was the first time to, yes, and it was quite powdery.
Yeah, and we've noticed that with some of the Voyager, it could just be that it's quite old and it doesn't have quite a great water content.
Yeah, so it's just when it's splitting, it's literally powdering.
Yeah, and that's there's a few of them malts that do that. So you've got to be careful when you get a new batch of them, just to make sure that your mill's at the right setting. Very, very important.
Paul, what would make this setup different from your other homebrew thing?
Well, one, the size, everyone. Mine kind of works on I do have pumps, but for this part I use gravity. So I have a system like that. So I can use gravity from the bottom of here to the bottom of there to the bottom of there, and then I would use a pump if I need to switch them back. That would be one of the main differences. So I try not to agitate my system too much because mine isn't a commercial system. This is the starter here, right?
This is the starter here, the 10 litre starter. Should probably already be starting to produce the gas.
Yep. Yeah. There's this classic smell.
And it's bloody good yeast, so really I love that yeast.
Yeah. This is a yeast I've not used before, so
It's a really high attenuating yeast. I think it attenuates to 82%.
okay.
So you'll get a lot of that sugar, so it'll be a nice clean end of the finished beer. Generally I find, and yeah, I've got no qualms with it at all. I prefer it over the classic kind of homebrew yeast like USO4, USO5 for those Americans.
And you said it was kind of similar to 04?
It's similar to 04 in the kind of esters that it produces. I think it's a little bit cleaner, and it does have a better attenuation, I think, as well. So generally my favourite.
And you were going to, because we're not sure if we're going to dry hop yet.
No, I think what we'll do is we'll,
like day 5 or
around day
5,
5, we'll try it, see how it's going, if we're getting a lot of that. We're going to do a whirlpool edition as well.
I look forward to coming over and trying that at day 5, and that's it.
Friday next week, we might have a couple of drinks around here.
Yeah, we'll come round and try it, and then we'll all decide if we want to dry hop it or not.
That's the experimental part, and that's what we love to do here at Ambush.
Yeah.
Is really experiment and do different things, and if something's not working, you can change things halfway through if you need. It's always important to be on top of the brew as it's fermenting, just to make sure everything's going as well as it can. And
well, you can't be complacent, can you?
Certainly can't.
Not with big volumes like this.
No, so we still need that's being sanitised. We just need to make sure that this dip tube is sanitised as well, so that just gives you your volume. So we're expecting about an 800 litre brew today. Depends sometimes on how much grain you've got in and how much water that's holding onto after your mash. But generally about an 800 litre batch is what we get out of a large brew.
Is there any way, do you press the water out of the grain at all? Or do you
You don't want to shouldn't do that. No, you'll get a lot of astringency.
A lot of the flavours that you don't want in beer, if you start squeezing it like a tea bag, you're going to, the tannins, the astringency, as Axel just said, you don't want that in beer. You'll also create quite a haze in your beer that is really, really hard to get rid of.
Are there any styles where that is used, or is it just enough?
Is there any style where that is used?
I think maybe like Pilsners, German style lagers, where you do a deconcoction, which is basically you're taking part of the mash and doing it and boiling
it's not
it.
really the same thing.
No, but it will give you similar flavours. You'll get a lot more darker notes out of it, darker caramel type flavours. But generally, it's something you want. You can always add tannins as well. I don't like doing that personally, but a lot of people will do that. Go ahead and add tannins to the end product.
I guess historically that decoction was kind of the only way you could do it on those big, especially in Europe. There was no way to get in and compress the grain bed to squeeze. There was no way to do that. I don't think so.
No, certainly those old.
That would have been a feat of science at the time.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean those old way they used to brew, and it's really fascinating if you get a chance to go to Europe or anywhere, and they'll have their brew houses are 3-4 stories tall, and they're stepped down. So the main mash might be a massive copper kettle or something similar, surrounded by brick, with literally a fire underneath it.
Yeah, they use gravity.
Yeah,
to,
it's gravity there.
I was explaining before your vessels to use gravity, and Ash was right. Yeah, back then they didn't have pumps, so gravity was your friend.
Yeah.
That's why your brew houses were 3 stories high.
Yeah.
They are impressive to see.
There's some, in fact, some of the old ones, Cascade Brewery in Tassie, they have one of the big old brick building that's 3 or 4 stories high. A lot of the old ones, Tui's, which is TUI in New Zealand, they have very similar old brick building. I do like Tui.
I mean, they're renowned now for their, I guess, your Deep Creek and Garage Project. They're renowned for their big IPAs, extenuating New Zealand hops, which
IPA is just like big hoppy IPAs.
yeah, and really showcasing New Zealand hops. But they also make really good lagers as well.
Some cool stuff happening in the New Zealand craft beer scene.
They got good water for it. And same as Australia. Yeah, the water.
Yeah.
I think anyway.
Yeah.
And also, in Tasmania as well, we've got really nice water as well.
That's why Tassie whiskey's so good.
That's why Tassie whiskies are so good.
Shout out, Mark.
Shout out to Lark, one of my favourites. Kempton's, Sullivan, they're all good.
So it's important with the pH that it also takes the temperature.
Okay.
So yeah, we are a bit high, which is kind of what I anticipated. Yeah, so we'll get some lactic in a tick. Just bring that pH down between 5.2 and 5.4 is really the optimum that you're looking for.
Why do you want it to be more?
It just helps with the efficiency, basically. It's the kind of optimal range for the alpha amylase to do its job in breaking the starches down as efficiently as possible. So it does make a big difference to your end efficiency.
The alpha amylase, that's something we're looking at.
No, so it's the grain. It's an enzyme in the grain. So when the grains germinate, when they're in the ground, that enzyme's created, starts being produced inside the grain. What you're doing in a mash is you're trying to get that alpha amylase out in suspension and solution, and then that will start breaking down the starches that you've opened up when you crack the grain.
Sorry?
Your party?
Beer at 9:30, yes.
Oh, it's 9:46.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
You guys not like it?
It's about 5 o'clock in Las Vegas, apparently. Yeah.
So we are currently just doing our finished our primary mash and just doing a pH reading. We're sitting at, as you can see, 5.34, which is perfect range. We're wanting between 5.2 and 5.4. So pretty happy with that. Just turned up the mash tun to 73 for our mash out phase, and then we'll be sparging. Paul, I might get your hand with this. One of you. We'll open this up just for everyone to see. So now I'm going to start transferring. Already checked those bottom valves are closed. If you wanted to jump up there, we could even move them. I'll just turn off the on again. You running?
It's floated out, Axel, but it's stopped off again.
That's better. Better? You'll notice it probably will pulse a bit.
Slow it down.
I'll just let it run for a little while.
Yeah, that's wrong. Just let it down. See what it pushes through. 5.3, yes, we did the pH test. So our mash tun here is now being transferred from the mash tun with this tube into our boil. Yeah, so this is where we're going to boil it. The grain bed should be sitting around here, so we're going to wait for the water to come down and sit on that grain bed. Then we will start to sparge, which is putting in water that's a little bit hotter than our mash strike temperature. And that'll just extract the last of the sugars and make the transfer less viscous, so it moves what's the word I'm looking for?
It flows easier.
Flows easier. There you go.
It flows easier. And then also, you know, every degree that you can get into the kettle before you start boiling is an extra few minutes you're saving. So it's worthwhile doing that.
Because we need to obviously get it up to a boil temperature. So I think we mashed in at, what did we do, 60?
So we did our mash in,
67?
56 for the alpha rest. We did that for about 20 minutes as we mashed in. Then we went to 67 for the main mash, primary mash.
And we're sparging around 73, 74.
Yep, 75 we're sparging out.
And then from 75, we'll get up to 100. We'll get to a rolling, vigorous boil.
Certainly.
It's one of my favourite parts of the brew.
We've just turned on our kettle box. This is what powers our kettle. As we're transferring, we've just got over those elements, so we're going to be turning this on now. This is preset, 100 degrees. Shouldn't take too long to get there, probably about an hour and a half.
Chef T would probably be very disappointed that we are eating Domino's.
And that's going to drain the rest of the sugars out of that sugar bed, out of that grain bed, and put it over to the kettle then for the final boil, and kind of the heart of where a beer is made, I guess.
So we're off. We're heading to the community gardens, the Mitchell Community Gardens. We reached out to them a couple of months ago, and they use our spent grain as fertilizer for all their garden beds, which is very sweet. Nice little way to give back, and yeah, I think they really appreciate it. So it's good.
Pump some in first before we put the...
Yes. We'll start the transfer.
Sanitized.
You ruin all the chemicals will ruin your bleach shirts and do all sorts of weird things.
There you go, that's #1 beginner tip. Wear shitty clothing.
Where should he clean?
You just keep getting handed hot shirts.
Yeah, I do. Somehow people think I love them. Oh, I don't mind.
No, you've worn 2 in 2 days, so I don't
I have. Well, look, got to represent.
trying to fit them
This
in.
is a classic. Yeah, I don't know if they're medium, but they're definitely not big enough large. I always have this problem with gloves.
So do I guess. Big hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
You don't want to say it.
No, they're crap glove. I hate the vinyl ones too. The latex are heaps better.
You're like, I feel like if you have big hands, you're traumatized from years of terrible jokes. Yeah. I must not talk about my big hands. Yeah.
Thank you, Father. Right.
So we're going from
So we're going from the top of this centrifugal pump all the way through to here. So as soon as Axel says tank open,
let me up. Tank is. There you go.
Paul, the audience hasn't been with us in a couple of hours now.
No.
Where are we at? Not
We're
right
at the final stage. We're transferring to fermenter.
Yep. So we've chilled the main fermenter here. Our wort's at approximately 35. We'll be chilling again as we come through again. So it'll be hitting the tank around about 30. Glycol is on, so it'll be chilling as soon as it gets in there. And we've got a massive yeast starter ready to go of the Bry 97. So
This should be fun.
yeah, this will look interesting. I'm not even giving this
And we've got plenty of sanitizer because this is the most important part. We've come down to temperature and we haven't pitched yeast yet, so we need to make sure that we're very clean and quite sanitized.
Bob, I might as well just ask what little kind of tasks have happened since we've been on, contributing on to that.
we have set up a separate pump to get the flow up for the heat exchange. So it was like a little bit quicker, saved us a couple of hours. And yeah, now we're at temperature, and it's all guns away.
Basically been enjoying ourselves the last couple of hours while we're waiting for everything to cool down, which is always an interesting, fun time as part of brew day. Always have a couple of beers, have a few samples, a few there's more than those.
So when this
Food
door
injuries.
opens, so this door opens.
This is how we're gonna.
Yes.
So what we're gonna do, Axel's gonna say tank open. I'm gonna turn the pump on, and then as it's moving across, we're gonna open that door. So Axel, open that door.
We're going to check here. We're going to get about 200 litres in so that we're
And then
distributing the yeast.
me and you will pour that yeast in when we've got a nice centrifugal thing going, and we can do a good strike. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right, tank open.
Okay, tank.
Is open. Alright. Get ready on the door.
No, it won't take long.
Yeah. Pump on.
It'll take a little while. I'll hold that.
Yep. Get this open.
What do I need space?
Yep. We just want to make sure that nothing gets in here. This is the only opportunity. It'll all be extruded as well because the yeast will go in. But safety first.
Are you ready?
Ready when you are.
3, 2, 1.
Spray this.
Yep. Smell. Let's grab the doorway.
Smells really good already.
Sorry.
It's alright.
Right.
We are in
Beautiful.
almost all of our it. No, remember the center it, boss. Not centered. Yeah, that's
Cool. Booyah.
Feels like a pit stop.
Scrub out.
exactly right. That's a good way to put it. So as the pressure builds up as this ferments, it's always good to make sure this is on super tight because this will push this in a little bit and you'll get a bit of looseness here.
Yep. So we've got top tap open at the moment, which we're going to put the spunding valve on. So we're going to sanitize the spunding valve and then fit that to the tank. At the moment, it's pushing a lot of air out, and we'll control that with the spunding right now. So I'm taking the spunding down to its lowest possible setting at 0.3. Six. Right there. Cool.
Good even once we did the hydrometer and the refractometer, we were pretty much around that 1040,
1046.
1045, 36.
Yeah. So that will hopefully come out. Final gravity should be around 101. So we're looking about a 4.6, 4.7% here.
What we were hoping for. Yeah.
So basically what Box is putting in now, just in case I described it, is what's called a spunding valve. So it's going to control the amount of pressure as the yeast starts to get active and start creating carbon dioxide. It's going to prevent a certain amount of pressure from escaping. It's going to more or less raise the efficient temperature. As you know, there's a relationship between pressure and temperature. So as the pressure raises, it basically spurs on the yeast a bit more because it makes them a bit happier generally. A bit of pressure really helps. And then as we go towards the end of ferment, we'll ramp that pressure up on the spunding valve again to about 7.7 of the atmosphere.
Yep.
So what's that? Roughly about 10 psi. And that will again spur on like the final fermentation basically as it goes through. And then once that crashes, then take that up to 1 bar, which is kind of serving pressure, I guess you would say.
Yeah. So it's harnessing the CO2 that we get for free, and then supplement with if we have to.
Yeah. With a bit of pressure from our tank over there.
Axel, what do you reckon we could do better next?
Next time, I think definitely we'll be milling much coarser than we did. It was just a little bit powdery again. So it's a pretty common issue, unfortunately, with some of those kind of lighter grains.
The compass is quite a small grain.
The compass
We're
was quite
trying to compensate. We're probably
That's right.
overcompensated.
It is the first time we'd used that particular base malt, so you live and you learn. We're expecting about 700 to come out. Got 650. So at the end of the day, not too
We
bad.
undershot a little bit,
Yeah.
but we've hit our, we're pretty sure we've hit our ABV, so I'm happy about that. I love the colour. I'm,
Yeah.
all in all, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I
great
mean,
day.
and we've learned a few things, and we're going to do this recipe again, which I really hope we will, to get our efficiency up a little bit and our volume.
Yeah, the volume is a bit disappointing, but live and you learn. We'll do a larger mash next time we do this. So probably bring it up to 750 litre mash rather than 650. And we'll probably keep about the same amount of spards, and that should get us roughly an extra 150. Generally try to hit about 800 on a large batch when we do one. So that's what we'll aim for next time.
So we're going to drink these kegs, and then we'll make it again.
Ambush Brewing. Better every brew.
Oh, I need the name.
I don't know. Did we like Equinox?
I like Equinox, but I also like
Or was it Made in Voyager?
Made in Voyager.
Made in Voyage.
Yeah, it was pretty
Made in
good.
Voyage.
Don't take us on Follically Challenged.
Totally challenged.
I mean, I don't mind that. Follically Challenged Pale Ale. Not sure.
I mean, I'm happy with Follically Challenged, even though I'm not.
Let it be known.
I like
We need
Equinox.
to think about it.
Watch this space. We'll come up with a name before we serve it. That's for sure.
Without a doubt. Looking forward to it.
And so that being said, I think that is a wrap. I think.
A wrap for Brew Day.
It's been an awesome day. I've enjoyed myself immensely. I hope you all have enjoyed watching this video with us. And I sincerely hope you enjoyed drinking the beer with us too. Ambush to all my friends collaboration.
Looking forward to it.